it or run it back.
He's back, co-founder of Enjoy Basketball, host of the Kenny Beecham podcast. It's Kenny Beecham. And look, we got a lot of really important basketball news, Kenny, and we're always happy you're here. But the most important question I can come up with is the fact that we had Paul Scheer on Monday's show, and he said that Space Jam is a horrible movie. You're from Chicago with MJ. Yeah. Where are you on this?
As someone that's watched Space Jam like 100 times in my life, I can't get behind Paul's take here. I'm sorry.
There it is.
Now, I know he's a movie guy, and I respect his opinion on movies more than a lot of people, but just the nostalgia factor is enough for me to say it's a good movie.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, well...
Like, maybe I'll rewatch it, but...
We were younger when it came out, so as a kid, you're a little more inspired by watching it.
I think if we watched it tonight, we'd be like, wow, this movie sucks.
Watching it as an adult is probably
That
different.
does
Paul
happen.
might have watched it as an adult.
Might have.
Yeah, so I don't...
All right, homework assignment. Rewatch it, come back. We'll talk about it. I can do that.
I like how he said, it's Michael Jordan. Why is he living in that 2-bedroom house? Like he's playing himself. Why is this house bigger?
That was fair.
Kenny, obviously yesterday, a lot of news around the league, but especially in Milwaukee. The Bucks firing Adrian Griffin, Doc Rivers appears to be in line to take over. What are your thoughts? Who do you think the Bucks should hire?
It's hard to have a real good short list halfway through the season. Before the season started, obviously they had Kenny Atkinson, they had Nick Nurse, who's looking amazing in Philadelphia, and they opted to go with the first-time head coach. And a lot of that was because he had the backing of Giannis and everything. Of the people available, I'm guessing Doc is the best. It's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. Obviously, in 2008, he had the good run with the Boston Celtics, but since then, he's failed to make it past the second round of the playoffs in most cases. Obviously, he's also never coached a talent like Giannis. So maybe Doc is the right answer. We just have to wait and see, I guess.
You know what they say? You can tell when somebody's lying.
Yeah.
When their pitch, his tone goes up. His tone was
calling Kenny out.
It was on the opera.
I'm Ron
how he's
Burgundy.
singing. I guess he's the best.
I mean, it's fair. We don't know. It's like, that's what's weird about firing a guy so early, but it's fine. It's been done. It's over. We had a lot of breaking news yesterday. Shams was a busy, busy man. Terry Rozier, in the middle of the show, was traded to Miami. What do you think about that deal? How does it look for the Heat moving forward?
I love it because they've obviously struggled recently offensively. Like, I've watched a bunch of their games, and even when Jimmy Butler's back, Jimmy's just such a passive guy in the regular season, something I don't really understand, but they just needed another guy that can go out there and get a bucket, and Terry Rozier has had a very underrated season. The only thing that I worry about a little bit this year is that he's shooting 30% on catch-and-shoot shots. Obviously, in Miami, he won't have the ball as much as he did in Charlotte, especially when LaMelo was out. But, like, historically, he's been like a 40% catch-and-shoot guy. So maybe under Miami, he can get back to that. They just needed another bucket. And Terry Rozier has had such great performances in Charlotte. He's been a big shot maker for Charlotte in the few close games they've had over the last 2 seasons. So I love it. I mean, I hate it for Kyle Lowry, obviously, but I think he'll be fine with the bag that he got a few years back. So,
Kenny, everyone, Zach LaVine, he's a name that we've been hearing for a very long time. He's been out with an ankle injury, and the Bulls kind of look good without him. Does he get traded before the deadline? And if so, do they just completely blow it up, trade DeMar, get rid of everybody?
I've been waiting for the Shams update that it's happened. But with the injury and something that I'm sure everybody agrees on, when you have a player of Zach LaVine's caliber, we've seen it here in Chicago, he's not going to be your one option. In a lot of cases, he's probably not going to be your 2 option on a very good team. So why should we pay him $40 million annually to be the 3rd best player on the team? And I think that's where the hiccup is. The Bulls have made the least amount of trades since 2021. So I'm assuming that means the front office is holding on to all the assets and asking for crazy returns. I'm hoping that we get the trade done, mostly for Zach's sake, because even when he came back from the first injury, you can tell that he was very passive. He didn't want to step on any toes. Kobe White was playing very well. I think a change of scenery is necessary, but I don't know how likely it is because the contract is so big.
So what is the deal you would most likely to see happen before the deadline?
For the Bulls?
Ooh, for anyone.
For anyone.
Wow.
Oh, for anyone, I kind of want to see the 76ers buy in a little bit. I know they've preached flexibility from the offseason standpoint, and I completely understand that. But I feel like there are some people on the market that you can trade for right now and maintain that flexibility come offseason. I think Joel Embiid is playing some of the best basketball I've ever seen with my own two eyes. I understand the critics, like we got to get past the second round. You know, we got to play all these games in the playoffs. But just looking at the regular season, he's having his best year, and I think that they need another guy on the team that can create their own shot outside of just him and Tyrese Maxey. Again, I don't know who that guy necessarily is, but them just sitting on the expiring contracts and those 2 additional first-round picks that the Clippers gave them would probably be a mistake, in my opinion.
I wonder if that answer will be the answer to my question, because I wanted to ask you, give me a team that will absolutely not win a title unless they make a move.
It is Philly. It is Philly.
So they have to do something. This is just the way it is. I mean, look, whoever did the Dak Prescott, Joel Embiid memes the other day, that's not cool, but also kind of funny. And I feel like that's what I'm hearing is like until they can get over that hump, we can't do much with it. So you need another piece.
The man just dropped 70, and everybody was like, well, in the playoffs, he don't play well. So it's just like he needs it for his own legacy. He needs it for his own respect factor, because nobody is going to deny the fact that he's one of the top talents in basketball. But all the other top talents in basketball either have a conference finals appearance, an NBA finals appearance, or a championship. And he has none of those things, and he's about to be 30. So even he mentioned it in his post game, like, I dropped 70, but it doesn't matter because I haven't played well in the playoffs. It's like this is such a great moment for him. But we're talking about April, May, and June instead of
crazy. He said 30 like it's old, but but to be fair, Joel, from what I can remember, he hasn't been healthy most of the playoff runs. He's broken his face, he's broken his hand. He's always had injuries. So hopefully this year, this playoff coming, he'll be healthy, and then he can show you that he's not Dak Prescott.
Kenny, sticking with Joel, obviously we know about the big game the other night, looking like the front runner for the MVP. He has missed 10 games, so do you think the NBA is going to regret this whole threshold of, the 65-game minimum for these awards?
I think that the first year's trial, they're going to keep it. They're going to keep it for year number 2. Because I'm looking at Joel Embiid's success and how dominant he is. The number 2 option in this, if Joel Embiid fails to hit the 65-game threshold, it's not like we're falling off from the best player of the league to somebody that's not that. It's the guy right under him, which is Nikola Jokic, who's almost equally as valuable when it comes to this MVP award. So I think that no matter what, we're going to have an MVP that we feel very confident and good about. But I think that Joel Embiid right now, again, just thinking about the first 41 games of the regular season, he's been head and shoulders above everybody. I mean, he's putting up legendary stuff. And I think that the NBA also added something where you can refute some of the games missed. So maybe we get that from Joel Embiid, where he ends up with 63 games.
Enough.
How does that even work?
2 or 3 games.
What do you mean? You miss the games. How are you going to refute them?
I refute it.
What do you think the number should be? Asking everybody.
I think there should be a number. If you play 64 games and you're as dominant as Joel Embiid, you're the MVP.
Okay, but what if you play
But if
50
he plays
games
less
and you're
than 60
dominant?
games?
Then don't vote for him. Like, I don't think there should be a threshold of games.
Well, that's not going to happen. There's people that don't deserve to be an All-Star.
But think about it. If Joel plays 64 games and Joker plays 66, he gets to win it, even though Joel had a better
You're
season.
picking literally the
But that's going to
slimmest of
happen one of these
margins.
years, and we're going to be like, damn, he got screwed.
Well, let's wait till we get to there.
Kenny, my next question to you is, because I know my answer, Wemby,
Here we go.
Chet, Rookie of the Year. I think it's...
Don't lead the witness. Go on.
Who's your Rookie of the Year and why?
If the season was in right now, it would be Chet.
Come on.
But I think that once we get to April, it's going to be Wemby.
There we go.
Like he's trending upward.
Kenny, I agree with all your takes till right now. Don't do this.
Well, you're not watching the Wemby stuff. Like,
yeah, I'm
he's
watching
doing
them win
ridiculous
7 games, and I'm watching Chet being the #1 team in the Western Conference right now.
Let's be real, Chandler. It's not Wemby that's causing them to win 7 games. He's playing 25 minutes per game, and he's averaging 26 points in that time frame. Like, it's only so much one man can do. And we're talking about a 20-year-old. He's not Bron. He's not KD. He can't single-handedly put a team on his back yet. But he is one of the most impactful defensive players in all of basketball as a 20-year-old. And his points per minute, I know we're talking advanced stats here, but like his points per minute is on par with some of the best players in ball. And Chet has the luxury to be the third option on most nights. And that's not a knock on Chet because his efficiency is really good. He's such a good defensive player, but he's trending more like he's plateauing a little bit while Wemby's taking off. And I think that when we come to April, we're going to look at these last 40 games and be like, man, Wemby was playing out of his mind.
For the individual, the
right
rookie, who's the better rookie?
He's unbelievable.
Where'd you find this guy?
He's unbelievable.
Thank you, Green Ranger.
But I do think the only way Wemby wins is if Chet goes down with like a season-ending injury.
But
Right now. I think it's a lock. I think he's running away with it.
Rookie on the
By
best team of
forget
the
rookie of the year. Chet is an all-star this year, and he's borderline all-NBA. You don't think he's going to win rookie of the year? He's the second best player on the best team.
Plateaued a little bit. They have been winning. His numbers aren't as good as Wemby's.
Thank you.
The points per game and the minutes it's a nut stat from Wemby. He's
it's weird.
Unbelievable.
Important numbers like that.
He's
weird.
Unbelievable. But I think when you look at an award like this, you have to look at everything. And his team is one of the worst teams.
Rookie of
and
the
his
year,
team is one of the best
does it
teams.
say
Are
look
we
at
not doing co-rookie of the years anymore?
Oh, I'd be pissed if
I
they
would be
did that.
kind of angry
It's been
too.
about 26, 27 years since
Grant Hill, J.K. was the last one.
Oh, I'd be livid. I wouldn't want it. Give it
That
to
would be
him.
such a cop
I
out.
also say Chet is more available. Wemby has sat out some games.
Yeah, and
to-
Chet's technically it's his second year in the league. I don't want to.
Do you like the
don't
Spurs or no? You like the Spurs?
Shut up.
The true rookie hoodie. So
Yeah.
Chet's not a true
Yeah,
rookie.
he's not a
Neither was
true
Blake
rookie.
Griffin. He still ran away with the rookie of the year.
Yeah, and you could argue that as well.
Oh, would Wemby playing pro since he's 8? That doesn't count for something?
Whoa.
8.
8. God, you're such an exaggerator. Fine, let's stick with the Thunder for 1 second because they played the Wolves. They beat them, and after the game, Edwards was not happy, thought it was very hard to sort of play against them. SGA getting the calls he got. Afterwards, SGA had the post on Instagram with another classic SGA caption, post-game, you know the drill. But we want a rivalry here, so let me ask you that. One, are you here for a rivalry between Anthony Edwards and SGA?
100%. Our league needs more rivalries.
Yes.
Like this season, we just saw the Bucks and the Pacers start to brew. And if we can get two of the top young talents in basketball to dislike each other on court, this is Canada versus USA too. This is everything we can really ask for in a rivalry. I'm here for it. We need Ant. Ant is one of those guys that's always going to talk, and I need him to continue that so we can have more rivalries.
Now, the tough question is you got to start a franchise today. Which one are you starting
That
with?
is tough.
I think I've just seen Shea do it more consistently over the last couple seasons. So Shea's all NBA he's going to be all NBA again this year. He's top 3, top 4 in MVP. Anthony Edwards still hasn't got there yet. I think he has a possibility to get there, but I'm going to take the proven all NBA player in the moment. And maybe I'll look back on this and say it was the wrong decision, but I'll go with Shea.
It's hard to argue that.
It's a tough one.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking in my head, how do I argue with him right now? But it's tough, man. SGA, he's done it. He's all NBA.
For sure.
And I think he's a better two-way player, but SGA.
So the question is,
he's
do you
leading the
think-
league in score. Like, he's done it all.
Do you think SGA has he reached his full potential? Or you think there's more for him? Because I think Ant has a lot more room for growth. And I think that's why some GMs make their draft picks of the potential of who Ant-Man could be, and besides the potential of who SGA could be.
I think SGA, too, is in a great situation where he's 25 years old and he's the vet. He's the leader of this young AAU team that's kind of taken over the NBA, you know what I mean? So he's got the keys. Ant does as well, but he's in a different system. Last year they struggled with the whole Rudy Gobert trade. Didn't work. Now it's starting to pan. Now it's starting to work out. I do think he's one of the better two-way players, but I'm with Kenny here. SGA, he's something.
Can't beat it.
Kenny, All-Star starters coming out on Thursday, tomorrow. Steph Curry currently ahead of SGA, and then in the East, you have Trae Young over guys like
All right, that's
Donovan Mitchell,
stupid.
Tyrese Maxey, your boy Jalen Brunson.
Zaza
That's
Pachulia almost started in the
stupid.
All-Star game one year.
Andrew Wiggins started one year.
Come on
Should
now.
Steph and Trae be All-Star starters?
Nah, and that doesn't mean that they're bad or nothing, you know? Like Luka and Shea are literal MVP candidates. Steph Curry's not that this season. Like, I want to see those guys. I think on the guards on the Eastern Conference, I feel pretty good about Tyrese Halliburton being one. He's number 1 in voting. And then that second guard spot, it could be Jalen Brunson. It could be Donovan Mitchell.
Maxey.
But it's probably not going to be Shea. I mean, it's probably not going to be Trae. He doesn't have the same respect amongst his peers as we saw in previous All-Star voting situations. So I don't think it's going to be Trae.
That's crazy to me that could happen. But you're right. We do get some weird pops, and this doesn't make any sense. All right.
Well, talking about All-Star Weekend, is there anything that you would like to see change for All-Star Weekend? Something new? Something added?
I just want to have the good dunkers participate. You know, I was there in Cleveland,
Instead
and
of the
it
G League
was.
guys?
But you know what? I'll take Mac McClung because
he's
he
back.
made it happen
He's
last year.
back.
You know, but we haven't had, other than Mac McClung last year, like a really, really good dunk contest since Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine. And we're just waiting. I think most players just don't want to be labeled a dunker because we saw that for both of those players for years. And then Zach LaVine had to make 2 All-Star appearances before people start to realize that he was really good at basketball. So I just want players to be in it, man. The moment that we get people dedicated, the Jaws, the Zions dedicated, that's when things come back. But I just don't think it's possible. I don't think we can get them there.
So that would be your pick. That's who you want to see, like a.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously helps to get the big player. I would like to see like a one-on-one competition. That's much better than like a skills challenge
see the
or
king of the court situation.
Yeah, like I'd love to see Tatum play Devin Booker one-on-one with 2 dribbles. Like, you know what I mean? So
or Tatum against Jaylen Brown.
Exactly.
You remember that one?
That is more exciting than watch Wemby like go coast to coast and throw a ball through a hole. Like,
for the fans.
Why do you hate Wemby?
I was watching Chet with you.
I'm sick and tired.
As former players, do y'all think that the one-on-one thing would work? Like, would you be able to convince real players to do it?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's tough to even get them to play serious in the game, so I don't know. I said it's not for us. I think it's more for the fans. I think it's more interesting and exciting for the fans to see us play one-on-one. For the players, one-on-one is not that big of a deal, nor do they take it as serious.
It's a free way to get exposed too. Like if you don't win, you don't play good, you get hurt. There's a lot of negative things that could happen.
Yeah, that's another reason why I don't see guys taking it seriously. They don't want to get exposed. They don't want to.
Pipe dream.
Yeah. I love this time of year though, because we're always trying to figure out how do we make the All-Star weekend better. We'll figure it out.
Well, first of all, don't put it in Indiana.
We almost made it through a show, Kenny. We almost did it without insulting an entire
Chandler's
city.
going to Indy this year.
Yeah, he's going for us.
FanDuel could not pay enough.
I got to clean my garage.
You might get jumped out there.
Okay, so over the weekend we had the Bruce Brown soundbite about talking about playing for Tibbs and the Knicks. Doesn't play for Uner. And DeJounte Murray talking about playing for the Spurs. I don't want to define tampering, but maybe this could be called tampering adjacent. What are we doing with these little moments?
Nothing. I want more of them. Because it shows us where the real priorities lie. Bruce Brown wants to play for the Knicks. DeJounte Murray wants to play for Pop again. Like, being transparent can go a very long way, so we won't get situations where players traded to a team and he doesn't want to play there. So just be vocal,
I love it.
Be honest, and maybe we can get you to the place you want to be at.
Right? We all have our dream job.
I guess, man.
Put it out
it's
there.
not like you're not employed by a certain.
If
so
this
crazy
works
to
and he
be
goes to
employed
the
by
Knicks,
somebody
I'm gonna
and
lose
pitch
it.
yourself to another competing company.
I kind of love it. Look, the Bucks brought in their next wife while the first wife is still sitting there.
So
It's a
crazy.
whole thing. It's dirty and it's weird, and I love it.
Yeah.
Kenny, love having you on. Can't wait till we have you on again. Thank you so much. And we will take a quick break when we come back. No phone calls after 9 p.m. Wemby's my kind of guy. Run it back, return.
Run it back, yeah, run it up.